Hello and welcome to episode 47 of our Timberborn Update 7 Iron Teeth Project 1K playthrough, Cycle 82, Day 25. Almost at the end of our drought cycle here, and before we do anything else, I would like to talk about a really cool idea. Well, a couple of ideas that you guys have posted in the comments. I'm going to kind of combine a whole bunch of them, but it relates to how we're handling our overhangs on top of the motivatoriums. So, what I'm going to end up doing, and this may be slightly controversial, but, you know, stick with me here. Let's hit pause. I'm going to demolish all of this, and I'll show you why in just a moment. What we can do to make slightly better use of our vertical space is, instead of having these up quite as high as they were, do one of these numbers here, which this bridge here is not going to stay forever, just bear with me. You put this here, and then instead of having our 6x1s up one more level, we can put 4x1s all the way across here. And then on the back, we put our 3x1s. And then out here, we put 2x1s. What this allows us to do is, right here in the middle, place medium warehouses. Depending on how we want to have this configured, I might actually want to go one more this way. Let's do that real quick. Just to make this look slightly nicer. Do 4x1, and then we'll do our 3, and then we'll do our 2. And if I go one more still, then I can connect everything to this set of ladders. But for the sake of stuff looking good, this is going to be the boundary of where the buildings go, and I do want to show this to you before we spend too much time paused right at the beginning of the episode. So, hydroponic garden goes here, and we can have 2 more on top of that, so we still have our 3 high to get the number that we want. But in the middle here, we take our medium warehouse, and for the purpose of what we're doing, excuse me, I'm going to leave this set right here, right in front. We just do 3 of those like so. And what that's going to allow us to do is, when we have the actual stuff set up here, I think what's going to make the most sense is if I have this come in right here, then this can be a double, this can be a single, and then we'll have one more here. Yes, there is a reason why I did not use overhangs for this, but check this out. You take this here, you take this here, this goes all the way across, peel back your layers, now you have this space right here. I have to remember where all my buttons are. You have this space right here, goes all the way across, and that is going to be where we put all of our mushroom related stuff for this area, because this is what we had previously growing here. And across the top of this, we can do one of these numbers here. So in the same space that previously we had a 9, now we've got 18. And if you remember, our total number for the fermented mushrooms was 40 hydroponic farms. And now I got 18 of them right here, while still being at the same level at the top as our pumps. That's pretty good. Honestly, I think that's pretty nice. So to make this just a tiny bit easier on our beavers, I'm going to take that out, put in a ladder facing that way, which will still allow them to get up and down. And then when we get out to this part right here, remember, we're only going to have 2 of these motivatoriums on this side and 2 on this side. I'm going to rebuild this, or I guess not rebuild most of this, honestly, because it hasn't even been built. We're going to echo that. This still has room right here for us to put additional tanks on top, and I think that is going to be pretty fantastic. While we're here, I guess we, before we unpause, I should probably get rid of all of this as well, and then we can move right along. I know you guys are itching to have some progress get made today. While we're here, since you guys keep asking, yes, I will place... I won't enable it, but I will place the earth repopulator in this corner just so we don't have to worry about it anymore. Remember, that is a 7x7 building, so that is 3. This will be 4, 5, 6, 7. Just bring that all the way across there. Let's very carefully select only the paths There we go. This ladder does not need to be here. And I will instead just replace that with a double platform. What we've done over here, remember, is just have the doorway facing this way. It has been paused so we don't use all of our materials for it. So we will just come over here, have that go all the way in. Then we can very easily take this set of paths out. No harm, no foul. Earth repopulator goes right there. I'm going to have that face that way just because nice and mirrored. We do, again, have to pause that. But now we have that in place. We don't have to worry about it. I know I've said a whole bunch of stuff about this the past couple of episodes, and yes, we're finally going to get it done. So we technically don't need to have these platforms here, but by putting them here, what we can do is place a few of these well-being items in the corner, and then just make this look a little bit nicer. We have this brazier here, and then we can also, if we so choose, put a beaver bust or a beaver statue. I don't think it really matters, but I do kind of like how this looks, even though this is, you know, a bit extra to have both of those right there. I think it looks kind of cool. Unfortunately, I forgot to put those back here, but what I will do instead is put them back there, and then eventually when it says they can't build it, then we'll figure out how to get beavers back there. Or maybe it's not going to care because this isn't fully complete. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Now, but that hopefully should set us on a pretty good trajectory for most of the rest of this episode. I'm trying really hard to get as much of this done as I possibly can without just straight up skipping stuff. I know a lot of you are pretty sick and tired of this playthrough already. And trust me, I hear you. I am very motivated to have this be as good as it possibly can be with what remaining time and energy I do have for this. So we'll just pop this same kind of deal here, put our 3x right there, put our 2x right here, and do the same exact kind of setup there with our platforms. I think this is totally fine without going crazy over-engineering. There you go, with all these overhangs. But I did see a couple people just make general comments about, like, you know, get kind of crazy with it. And then a couple of you made some pretty detailed plans, which I thought was great, and I always appreciate the input. Obviously, I do have to pick one single way to do things in the end, but you have made a tremendous impact on my ability to actually get stuff accomplished. And for that, I thank you. So these are going to be for the algae. So we'll get that taken care of there. Our algae only needs, if I remember correctly, 26 hydroponic farms. So this is going to leave a little bit more room for some other stuff for our beavers to do, just by having a slightly more efficient layout. And you know what? That is always going to be good. And then, of course, we'll have these over here. So just this right here is 18, just by itself. And I know this one only needs 26, and 18 times 2 is more than 26. But this is going to save us the height to put things on top of this. That might be kind of fun. And, of course, we have all these other things to take care of as well when we get into our food processing area that's going to be over here. 18 times 2 is not 40, though. It is 36, and then we'll have to have 4 more, which can easily be put basically anywhere else we would want to go. I just think this looks neat, though. I think it's pretty cool, and I am excited that we are able to take care of all of this. So before we forget, because I absolutely will forget, let's set these 2 mushrooms. I know they're not going to be built anytime soon, but again, if I don't do it, then there will come a time in the next episode, or the episode after that, where these aren't set up, and then you guys are going to be like, I can't believe you didn't set those up, and you will be absolutely right to roast me for it. So in an effort to protect my sanity and reputation, whatever remains of either of those things, I will just go ahead and take the time and do this now. And there's still plenty of other stuff we have to get to today. I just figured this would be a smart way to start things out, since it is a kind of involved process, getting everything taken care of. That should be fine for the time being. Is this paused? Yes, it is. Okay. So there's some other math that was done on the recreation things, like I hinted at earlier. Again, I have no mental brain for math or numbers or anything that is not just putting numbers in Excel and making it do math for me, which sometimes that's fun. But what it boils down to, as far as motivatoriums are concerned, theoretically we might only need 2 based on the math that I've been given. But I've already built 4, and I don't think there's any reason to get rid of those, so we're going to leave that there. But for these other things, like specifically the mud baths, this claims we only need to have 3. And, you know, I've already set up 4 here. They're not finished, but I've already set up 4, so honestly, I think I'll just leave it at this 4. We'll see. We can address the needs as they become more and more filled as the population increases. Remember, we're still going for 1,000 beavers here. But the stuff that's really, really helpful to know in advance as far as our needs are wind tunnels, because those are huge and they have to have power. And exercise plazas, because those are huge, even though they don't have to have power. Wind tunnels, the math done claims that we're going to have about 3 buildings. I think we can just push that to 4 just to be safe. Plus, that would be nice and symmetrical. So I was thinking that might be a fun thing to stick on top of these hydroponic gardens, because I'm going to have whatever amount vertically it is, I'm going to have another pod like this on this side for the... I did not set these up for algae on this other side. We do need to take care of that. But I'm basically going to just mirror this on this side, mirror this on this side, and then whatever else needs to be added or subtracted to get to our correct numbers, we will make sure that we can do. Going to be a little bit of fiddling as we get around to doing everything, but hey, that's part of the fun. I think so, at least. Feel free to disagree. That's always allowed. And in the meantime, at the very least, we can have this ready to go in some way, shape, or form. There's a lot of metal, there's a lot of planks, and there's a lot of logs that have to go into making this stuff. We have plenty of logs, plenty of planks. The metal situation, not really that much. I think we can increase our scrap metal output, unless I've already done that, in which case we might be in trouble. We can still do efficient scrap metal, and we do still have extract. We don't have a ton because I haven't rebuilt the giant tank, but I think for now this is probably okay. This also seems like a good opportunity for us to prioritize this building by haulers, and then also check out our hauling situation, because there's a couple of you that are adamant that I have not done enough with that. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fully staffed hauling posts. If we come all the way up here, I know I had a couple more that I think I removed. And if not, then, well, I don't know. I don't think there's a gas leak on the second floor of my house. Hopefully not the first floor either, but I'm not down there. So, wait, I totally missed one. No, I didn't. All right. I guess I'm losing my mind. We need to find a place to put hauling posts, among other things. And you guys seem to have some pretty smart ideas for the rest of that as well, because we have all this extra space. And what are we going to do with it? Now, I know not everything's going to fit, but see, the hauling post doesn't fit here. The builder's hut does. So we have all of this unused space, and we're not going to use all of it to grow things. So what I think I'm going to do is start moving builder's huts to some of these other areas up here that we're never going to grow things on, that are still kind of close to our two-way network. And the bottom level doesn't really have a two-ways all the way around. That is something I need to do at some point, but it just hasn't been a priority. We have these corners up here. Campfires. A couple of these levels already had campfires put elsewhere, like right here. And the reason that I did that, of course, was because this corner wasn't fully irrigated, and it wasn't going to be able to be used to grow anything anyway. So I figured, you know what? Let's just put some stuff there. And it seems to have worked out pretty well. But there's still areas like this way back corner over here, or depending on how we want to set things up, this back line here, especially on these levels that actually have two-ways. It would be pretty simple, especially for a building like a builder's hut that is basically just a place of record for a beaver to be employed. They don't actually carry goods back and forth here. They just wait here until they have something to do. So if we were to put, even just on every level, okay, except ones that we already have stuff planted. So if we were just to put a builder's hut on every level right here in this corner until we run out of levels, it wouldn't be that big of a deal just to have that in place. And that would free up some space on the bottom where the rest of the hauling posts are, where there is height to put them. And I think that would be a worthwhile expenditure of our time. Of course, I do have this area here as well. We won't need builder's huts forever, but while we have them, it's going to be good to do that. So that'll fill out this space decently well. In theory, I could have maybe attached these directly to this two-way network, but keep in mind these don't directly connect to that much, and having them go into this path instead is going to, on, well, the levels that I've actually finished with the tubeways, put them pretty close to a tubeway station. And if there isn't one in this area right here, then I can certainly place one, and that will help keep everything connected as we continue moving on. Now this also, I'm just finding more and more of these places that do not have tubeways that I thought I had taken care of. I think that probably is just a remnant of when I had to, you know, blow it up, start again, all that mess. That's going to give them something to do. Let's put this in triple speed. Going to move on here and then slowly start replacing these builder's huts. That was a very terrifying amount of lag with hauling posts. Get these set to maximum workers, and I am going to deprioritize these just because of where we are right now in terms of population, but we have extra beavers. I just don't want to get caught with my pants down when it comes to having these things all taken care of. So they should be able to build that. That's going to get us another 20 haulers right off the bat. I don't want to take too many of these builders' huts out of the equation just yet. I have completely failed to put my fingers on the wrong buttons once again. Just have to see if any of these are going to be built anytime soon. It's not like I'm in a rush, but I would like to, you know, have this completed before the heat death of the universe. Too far from a district and cannot be reached. Okay, that means we're going to have these taken care of. But they'll figure it out. They're going to build what they have access to, so the order that they do this doesn't really matter that much. Should be fine. So let me scroll back up in my document here to the suggestions from the comments. I also really liked the idea someone had about putting rooftop terraces in over here, which before I, you know, read all of the comments, thought, you know what, the original design I had, I could easily put that across the way. But now that we've done this, and we're going to need to add 4 hydroponic gardens to our 2 stack of 18, so what we can get away with here is this very outside one right here can become 2 of those, and then right next to it, so easily. It's just so easy to do this, folks. I can do one of these numbers, or I can move this way, right like so, and then this will connect directly here, just so easily, so easily. And then we can put in a ladder between all of these things. Maybe not in the exact middle in terms of, you know, getting everything taken care of, going that way, because I don't like how this is kind of not centered, but it is what it is. I'm assuming I'm going to just continue this all the way across and have other stuff put in. So because there was already a thing there, I guess we could just get away with doing this. But I hope you can see the vision here, and trust that we're going to have all sorts of good stuff going on. 4 of these rooftop terraces in this one module. If we do this on the other side here, that's going to give us 8, and then obviously the algae section has its own math because it has fewer required to produce the requisite amount. If I scroll back down here to where we have our math for the recreational things, the I didn't copy-paste that bit to my planning document, so the world may never know. Well, you can just go back and look at the comments from the previous video. It wasn't a huge number. It wasn't as big of a number as I thought, at least. So 4 here, 4 on this other side, and then a couple over there is going to get us, if not all the way there, pretty far. Pretty far. If assuming that we're operating on the whole, the beavers only have to do this once every X number of days, and any non-zero amount of fulfillment of the well-being counts as full fulfillment, or counts as being satisfied, so they're not going to go into it again. You can see we're down up to 36 now. Wet fur is not being met. We have to do swimming pools or showers for that. Swimming pool's probably going to be the better one logistically because that satisfies multiple needs at once. But we still have to have a place to put the swimming pools, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Now that we have fermented mushrooms, things are ticking up very nicely. Algae will come when algae comes. We just have to be able to produce it. And rooftop terraces, right now, out of 420 beavers, we have 0 who have satisfied that need, so that should be very nice once those start coming in. Aesthetics-wise, we have not placed the Great Torii Gate. We'll have to do that somewhere in the middle of the map. I think the range is sufficient on that. And then, of course, monuments, which will be artfully integrated somewhere at some point. No swimming pools, no exercise plaza, no wind tunnels. All stuff we've already talked about. We haven't really planned out placement of swimming pools yet, but I think we're going to be in a pretty good spot, folks. So, now it is a regular temperate season, and we have water coming into our reservoir, which is a very good segue to... why did I just read that in my head in Linus Sebastian's voice? What we have going on in the middle here, which is, unfortunately, a pretty inefficient reservoir setup because I wasn't really thinking super clearly when I had this whole thing engineered out. We aren't keeping enough water up high enough to pump with all of these pumps. But the amount that we have down here is still really good because we have to be able to irrigate our mangroves and any future things that we do in this area. But I liked the idea that one of you guys posted where I would go in with impermeable floors to basically the bottom of the straws. These are on 2 sets of triple platforms, and I can easily right here put in impermeable floors across this entire mess with, exception for the areas in between the straws. I thought it was going to be a lot harder to do this, and I'm so glad that that appears not to be the case. It's just going to be kind of expensive from a metal standpoint because there's so many blocks. But if I put impermeable floors across this entire level right here, with the exception of maybe a couple of sluice gates or some sort of protected thing, to where there's always going to be some amount of water retained up here, or put up here first, we could do like a pressurized tunnel coming up from the entrance bit here, without too much weeping or gnashing of teeth, because we do have this column all the way up here. We would just have to maybe sacrifice a single pump on this top level, and then just have this come up here first, and then flow down through some other sort of controlled circumstance. I don't think it's going to be that hard, and I've probably done a really bad job of explaining it. But I have read all of your comments. I always read all the comments, but I can't always comprehend everything, and I definitely can't always act on everything, but I do always read them. I think I can make this happen. I'm not going to promise that it gets done in this episode, but I'm going to do my best as we continue working on all of these other things. It's just going to have to be one of those things that we allow to happen in the time that it is going to happen. So, well being 36, we already talked about that. We're setting things in motion to get more stuff completed here. They haven't built these builders' huts yet, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just prioritize all of these so I can go ahead. I need to stop saying go ahead so many times. I can go down here and finish the rest of our hauling posts and all that. It's also going to be helpful for us to have more space for advanced breeding pods because the population really needs to keep ramping up. And if it doesn't, we're going to be in for a very, very long and frustrating road to 1,000 beavers. So now, because they are in the process of building everything else there, I think what's going to make the most sense for right now is just take out this builder's hut, put in 4 advanced breeding pods right there because that's what we have access to. They will build it eventually because they come out as adults. It really doesn't matter when they get born. It's just you're going to have birth wave, death wave, and it's going to mess things up for like a tiny little bit, but they'll get reassigned very, very quickly. So 4 added right now probably should be okay for where we are. I'm going to keep this one available for additional breeding pods just so we have things in kind of the same area. And then this one probably also should be kept for breeding pods as well as this one. This one is where we're going to get into putting in a hauling post. I know I just said I don't need to get rid of these any faster than I was already doing that, but You know how it goes. Just add this, let them do what they got to do, and move on to the next project. And I know I said we're going to talk about our area for all of our food processing and canola oil squeezing and all that. And that's this. We have to figure out what we're doing with everything that is currently here. And if you paid attention earlier, I don't know, 15 minutes ago or so, I said that we're going to start placing some items in the quote-unquote wasted unused space below. And this is a great place for us to put industrial piles. Because, well, these are taking up a whole lot of space, and it's very important that we have these items, yes. But this specific space right here is really not a great spot for it to go in terms of, bulk storage of dirt, which we probably also don't really need, to be perfectly honest. And all of these other things, this would be much better served just for food processing. We've already discussed what we have to have, but just as a refresher, we will have to have... mushrooms are already taken care of. Algae is going to need 2 food factories. Eggplants are going to need 4 food factories. Corn is going to need 4 food factories. So we only need 10. I'll probably build more. But 10 of those is going to take up maybe a little bit more space here than you think, depending on how we have to route things. And then we also have to have the oil presses for all of this. And oil presses are used for the eggplant rations and the fermented soybeans. Everything else is fine without it. The fermented soybeans have to have 6 oil presses, and the eggplant rations have to have 9. So we're on the hook for 15, at the very least. Oh, I'm sorry, and the algae presses. 24. 24 of those is, well, you can do the math in your head. That's going to take up a pretty substantial portion of this area. And any storage that we build in, around, on top of, depending on how you want to do it. I know how I'm going to do it, but the storage in this area needs to be focused on the products that we are producing or the goods we're consuming to make those. Industrial storage doesn't really fit the MO of what we're trying to do up here. So to that end, we have all of this space back here in these corners that isn't going to be used or is going to be used less frequently. And we have, well, on levels that we've actually finished that with, we have, oh, I never finished the tube-way going all the way up here. That's going to be a thing I should probably do sooner rather than later, but at any rate, we got space here. We have the height to stack 2 of those right on top of each other, and I think I have not messed with this off-camera, quote-unquote, but I believe if we do this correctly, there we go, I could do one of these kind of numbers here, where I've got this facing back this way. Just pause this so they don't accidentally build anything. I could put something like this here, put something like this here, and then just make use of this intermediate space. I know it's ugly. Yes, it is known. But this is going to allow us to make pretty good use of just about every corner of this area. That, let's face it, we're never going to have so many eggplants that we're going to use this corner of the map. And if we're going to keep in the industrial area up in this corner, which, long term, I guess this is long term at this point because there's only going to be a couple more episodes. This is a better solution than having it up top. We'll just go with that. It doesn't have to be super incredibly, amazingly, perfectly aligned, and it never was going to be possible to do that with this setup that we have here. But it's possible to make it not completely terrible. If you're picking up what I'm putting down. So I'm not firmly wedded to this specific layout, but just to give you an idea of my thinking on that topic. When we get to that point, we'll be able to do something like that. But I think for right now, see, it's so hard to get this actually laid out in a way that's not going to be awful. I know for sure I can do this, and that doesn't look the absolute worst out of anything I've ever done. I can virtually guarantee that this is going to be some level of acceptable, appreciated, what have you. And there is some dead space in the corner here. It's not really that big of a deal. But this gives me 6 of these right here, and it's only taking up the corner. It is 6. If I don't want to have this, if I have to plant something, I can just get rid of this, and it's not that big of a deal. This right here, I'm thinking is going to be our best bet. So that will just get popped in there. Simplest thing for us to do is just to pop, I suppose, this right here. Good access to the top there. Put that there. There's no reason for the game to be paused. But this could be some well-being items. This, again, will go all the way up and down the entire stack corner of this, whatever. Just nice and simple. Just like that. Is it ugly? Yes. Does it work? Also yes. So now let's get this set up here. We have logs. Probably need to have 2 of those. We'll do one for planks. We'll do another one for planks. Up here we have metal blocks. And we don't need to have scrap metal storage anywhere else. And then dirt. That should be fine for right now. It's just a proof of concept. Get us more or less where we want to go. And move on from there. And since we are here, I don't know if we're going to keep this forever. But because it is an option for us at this time, boom, I will place this here, vertical tubeway, go all the way up, put in tiny tubeway station, vertical tubeway, tiny tubeway station, vertical tubeway, and then our final tiny tubeway station, just to get a little bit better accessibility down to this corner, which is where we're going to have more of these. I think that's fine. Again, it's not perfect, but if I waited for everything to be perfect, this series would never end, and I think you guys would burn me at the stake. So, we will not be doing that. Let's make this a storage for mushrooms, because we have 2,400 storage for mushrooms. 3,600 storage. Okay, we really don't need these here, and I know there's going to be at least one of you who said, yes, I told you. It's okay. It's okay. We don't have storage for algae. That's what it was. But still, having mushroom storage in this general vicinity is going to make things speed up just a ton. And an extra 600 storage is not going to be the end of the world. That's going to be totally fine. Now what we have to do, because we do not have access to these upper levels here, we do have to put in platforms all the way across, and then continue that level up one at a time. That goes there. And then I think that's all of the entrances except this one over here. Which that will go there. Alright, so that's going to be taken care of on that side. I have, I guess, not done enough over on this side. Where's my, there we go, algae. That goes there, that goes there, that goes there. These are already set to algae, I know, because we already confirmed it. And I might as well, just because this is how this is set up, pop those in advance of there being a problem. I have this set right here. I don't have any connectivity to that side quite yet, but I want to make sure this is taken care of before we get too excited about anything. As we all know how easily distracted I become. This is a self-defense mechanism. Okay, so this is going to go here and here, because that's what that has to be connected to. We also could extend this all the way around to the corner, but honestly I don't feel like doing that. So that will go there. That will go there. As a reminder, we have to have this connect to there. This connect to there. We peel this back, and then we can come in this front way, and of course that will continue there. Alright. I like this idea. I'm so glad you guys suggested stuff like this, because I mean, it's pretty simple. Honestly, I should have been able to figure it out by myself, but you know how it goes. We're making good progress. I think we can be pretty happy with where we are right now. Water storage is almost at 43,000, which is going to be pretty good. Food production definitely needs to get ramped up, and while we do have some of this stuff already going, it's only going to get better once we have everything over here taken care of. So now it's time to get rid of all of our stuff here. We do have a storage for everything, every type of food at least, over here where most of the beavers live. We'll probably need to have other storage elsewhere, but for now, I think we can pretty safely just get rid of all this. I do need to check and make sure before I do. I've got 3,600 canola oil storage, so this can absolutely get removed. This is a huge mess, impossible to read. 28-day drought, by the way, but I'm not worried. cycle 83. We solved the beavers dying problem a long time ago. Alright, let's just rip that band-aid off old style, whatever that means. All that mess on the ground. I can hear you screaming and writhing in agony from wherever you are in our dear sweet world, but don't worry. It will be picked up because rubble is prioritized by TImprove. I did tick that box. And we have this gargantuan mess over here. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, a lot of these are empty, with the exception of dirt, which we have just an absolutely ridiculous quantity of. In fact, I'm going to say, for right now, we will pause the dirt excavators, get these beavers in a hauling post, and just... Oh, let's see, they haven't even started doing all this. Have they finished putting in the things, what do you call them? They have, they just haven't, oh, this doesn't connect all the way over here. Oh, there's so many things to get built that aren't being built. I think it's probably because we do not have... No, we have metal. We don't have a ton of it, but we do have it. Okay, that definitely needs to be prioritized. I kind of can't believe I hadn't done that already. Food factories. We have 10,000 food stored, which is because there's a lot of it on the ground. It's not that big of a deal. We will be okay. This stack of ladders can go away. And I don't think I'm going to put myself in a terrible spot if I remove all of this at once, but I do want to check and make sure. I've got logs, I've got planks. Those are the really dangerous ones not to have storage for. Metal is okay because it can still be made. And I do have storage allocated down here, but it has not yet been constructed. So in service of these goals, let's prioritize strongly the construction of these piles so they can get those done, and then I can just knock this whole thing out in one fell swoop and we can move on past that. This corner also needs to be replaced with ladders. As I have said before, did they already build that? They did. Good job, beavers. We have multiple routes to get through the area that this is covering, so I'm not going to feel bad about that. I'm going to feel bad about the lag, though. Alright, ladder. Get yourself up that whole corner. Very good. And this, of course, has to be done as well, just so we can have everything all set up nice and cleanly. We're also going to need to move our district center because of this. The only reason this district center is over here is because I had to remove all of the tubeways and all the tiny tubeway stations, at least, and all the ladders. So what we're going to do, yes, I will delete that large tank that has not been built. I'm going to put my district center, because I can't place it here. I'm going to put it back here, where it always should have been. I'm going to delete that. Yes, everything is disconnected. Do not worry, it will be fine. District 7, that's how many times we've had to do this. What Beaverburg is this, 27? I think so. Alright, and, oh yeah, this is going to be an absolute disaster for about the next 10 seconds while they still figure everything out. But that will take care of a whole lot of problems. I don't know if I can actually place a tank on top of this. I can! I can! And I was going to, but I think now this will be fine to just kind of leave alone. In fact, I'm going to get rid of this because it's honestly kind of ugly. I'm not going to get rid of the Torii Gate, though. That can stay. It is not a great one. It's just a gorgeous one, apparently. 37, very nice. And eventually we are going to have... I would love to make the Great Wooden One. I forget exactly where in Japan this is. I've posted about it before. It's pretty neat. Oh, it tells me it's Tsukushima. Probably butchered the pronunciation, but that is regrettably the best I can do. It is supposed to be in water. It doesn't have to be in this game. Also, this is too tall of a thing. But the Great Metal One, also too tall of a thing. I could sink it down 1 or 2 more levels, and I think that would fit reasonably well here. We also could stick it in one of these spots if I were able to... Why is that saying it can't? Is that not have enough clearance? Ah, okay, it needs 1 more space side to side. Anyway, point being, we can fit those somewhere. We just haven't, because I've had so many other things I've had to run around and try to fix, and problems keep cropping up, and then I had to redo the entire Entire transportation network, and then it's like, all right, well, it's time for the series to be over, but I'm not going to give up on it. Got to finish. Just got to get it done. So, anyway, seeing that we now have storage for all of these things, let's bite the bullet and just yeet it, delete it. Look at all that stuff on the ground. That's the sound of progress. And now we have a beautiful blank canvas with which to do our magic. And we have a ladder facing this way. Going into this corner, this ladder stack will be moved here. So it doesn't matter if I put something right here. We just have to have access somewhere. And we can still put a ladder stack in the middle of this. I just wanted the freedom to move around and be able to do what we got to do. So let's think about this modularly. We have, for the algae rations, which are going to be, the algae is going to be farmed right here. So I think algae should be this corner. We have to have 9 oil presses and 2 food factories. I'd like to keep the food factories and the oil presses kind of separated regardless of what they're doing. So what might make the most sense is for us to have food factories along the outside, because these are also, they're 2-story buildings, right? So I could put 1, 2, 3 like I had, but they were facing the wrong way. 3 here, 3 here, facing inside. That gives us 6. And then I need space for 4 more. So again, pardon me for pausing so many times, but it's the easiest way for me to visualize this. You got, oh, and there's also already a power shaft right there that'll hook everything up. So pretend we have all these other ones. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to do that. It doesn't cost us anything to do this. You got 6 there. This will transfer power across to whatever other aisle we have. If I only need 4 more, then I could easily just do here, 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 and here, and then have space in the middle, which probably would be a little bit easier. We can explore that. Then we have to have, what did I say, 24 of the oil presses. So this gives us an opportunity to utilize our space pretty cleverly here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. No thumb wars required. Flip that. I don't even know if kids still say that. So that gives us 8. And if we go across here, this gives us 16. Hit that flip again. So here's 16. I need to put 8 more. And I have this 2 by 2 and 2 by 2 that butts right up against itself. So I unfortunately can't put 8 here unless I do not want them to be able to touch paths, that is. So now we have to figure out what we can do with the space that we've been given. We can have another level of these if we really wanted to, but I think we can fit this in and it not be completely ridiculous. We also, crucially, don't need to have these fermenters on this side. This is just conveying power across. So if we wanted to, all we would have to do is take these out, and because we have this passage through here, removing these would mean I can put 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and then I only need to have 4 more, which would easily fit right here in the middle, or I could put another one here, and then I only have to have 2 more. Or we just say, you know what, let's roll with what we have, and as soon as it becomes a problem, we do something else. But point is, we have options, and I don't think it's going to be very hard. But I don't want to put all of this directly on the ground, because it's going to be just so much more efficient to just have the storage for everything right underneath it, and we just need to do our best with what we've got. If all we're doing is pressing oil here, we're not going to need to have a ton of oil storage for the canola seeds. I think right now I've got 2,400 in actual dedicated storage, and those are I don't remember. I do not remember where they are stored. Maybe that's just because that's what I have floating around. So I don't know. But point being, we don't have to have exhaustive storage underneath everything, but we do want to have some nearby for convenience sake. We can also, I know we're jumping around, but we can also put storage for the raw materials where we grow the raw materials. We do have space. We have a lot of space, and it really would not be that hard for us to just put even a single large warehouse because, again, it's a 2-block high level each time. Should be okay. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that in this episode without, you know, just making this record for a billion hours and then me not having time to do anything else today. But I just want to demonstrate to you that we're thinking about ideas and we have options for stuff to do. We do still have to have tanks to store all of our canola oil, which right now we do have 2,400, which is just 2 of these large tanks. And I believe I'm going to have to double check. Is that right here? Yes, that's those 2 right there. That's fine for our... I forgot I already made some of these. Oh, happy day. Oh, I've got 6 over here. Aha. Aha. Oh, I love it when this happens. So I don't need to build 24. I only need to build 18. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And I've got 16 here. These 2 are going to go away, but I got 16 here. That means I only need 2 more. And you know what? You know what fits right here? That's right. It's these guys. Oh, boy. Now I have space in the middle. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. I can do some stuff with this. I can absolutely do some stuff with this. All right, so let's hit save on this. Copy paste in our brains, and this is mostly for me. I'm sure you guys are never going to forget this. But I think it's not the most efficient layout ever, but I think it's going to be pretty good. And it will allow us to have easy access to some stuff underneath here once we have everything else set up. So I'm actually going to take a screenshot of this. There we go. So I can reference that later. And I'm going to delete this because we are unfortunately starting to run out of time with this. And I do think it's important that we get everything else taken care of. I know the food is going down, but we're still making corn rations, eggplants, and algae rations in theory at a level that we're not going to be, you know, completely toast. This isn't going to be able to sustain 500 beavers with it, but it is going to keep producing once we have algae ready to go, which is going to take a while. And we do still have fully equipped... Oh, I can't even keep talking. So excited about this. We have fully equipped stuff to make cassavas and the fermented mushrooms and the fermented soybeans, and kohlrabies are just plucking them out of the ground. We're in good shape. So I will just purge all this, unpause, and we'll go about our business doing everything else. Want to make sure they can take care of that, and we do have some other things to take action on as well. But again, we're making really good progress. I'm very satisfied. It's not perfect, no, but we are making progress. And we're going to continue using metal blocks to do a whole lot of this, but I think, yeah, they're going to need those to do that, so I'm not going to mess with the metal flooring idea in the reservoir. But I do like that. I think that's going to be really good to at least have it come up here first and then go down. That will be a next episode thing. I'm like 99% sure that's going to be the best way to do this. Ah, I mistakenly thought that this medical bed was a power shaft. That will be easily fixed. Get that prioritized to do everything else here. So I know we've talked about a whole lot of stuff today, and it might feel like you're drinking through a fire hose, but you guys are giving me some really good ideas, really good input, and I think this is going to be... Okay, it's not going to be as great as my original vision was because that ship sailed, I don't know, about 20 episodes ago. But I think it's still going to be really cool. And the most important thing is it's something we came up with together, and that's important to me. It might not be important to you. Feel free to disagree, but I value that a whole lot because remember, it's a let's play, not a watch me play. And I want you guys to be able to participate. So with that in mind, while they're building all that, let's shift gears for the last little bit of this episode and talk more about well-being. I didn't go into all the numbers for everything, but let's talk about scratchers first. The math indicates we're going to need approximately 50 of them. And if we take a look at what we've already built, we have in scratcher land 10. Which, hey, 10 is pretty good, but we need to have 40 more. Now, where can we put scratchers? There's a bunch of different ideas that I've got, suggestions you guys have made. We've got all these little tiny spots on the map where there's not really much else for these beavers to do for one reason or another. So I think that is going to make a couple of spots pretty pretty attractive for this. We've got this entire area right here that is basically wasted space. There's nothing going on. And I know we can't go all the way around the backside of these large warehouses, but it really would not be very hard for us to put along the backside here just a few of these set up with scratchers because they are single block high. And that gets us another 6 right there. And I know this is not the same kind of thing over here, but this will give me another 6 over here as well. And by 6, I mean 4. So there's another 10. Again, it's not perfect. It's fine. But this is another 10 of those. Now I only need 30. Every little bit counts. We have all these empty spaces in this general area. We've got some especially over here. This would be a good place to put 5. There's not too many things you can do with the 1x1 space. So in the interest of, you know, satisfying Beaver's needs, let's put another 5 there. And guess what? We're halfway to 50. Just like that. Super simple. Super easy. Well, they have to build it still, too. But that is already a big help. And then I just need to find somewhere else to put another 50 of those. And we are going to 50, 25. We're going to have more housing built. I know most of it is that's already been built is empty. And our total capacity is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 750. So we do need 250 additional. We could, depending on how we wanted to do this here, we could slightly modify our design. Push the... oh, now I can't reference it directly because I deleted it. But if we pushed everything in one tile, then I could mirror this on the other side, which would be very convenient for conveying power. And I don't think would actually cause us any problems when it comes to constructing things. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. What? 38. Very good. These hold 5. And each side would have 8 of those, so that's 40 right there. Plus 8 times 4 is 32. 72. 72 is 144, which leaves us with 106 remaining. But that is not going to be that hard for us to get. Assuming we have everything connected in the middle. Yeah, it looks like we do. I think that's it's gonna look pretty, it's gonna look okay. Not gonna be the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, but it will work. That is the most important thing. So unless anybody stops me in the next 5 seconds, so time travelers rev up those fryers, so to speak, I'm just gonna do it and start putting these things in. If you genuinely think this is a horrible, ridiculous, terrible mistake, let me know in the comments and I will reconsider it, but I think this is going to be one of our better options. I obviously can't put the other stack here because we currently have things in the way, but that will be a problem we will solve at a later point in time. I'm leaving this empty because that's how it was over here. We don't technically have to have it that way. Or we could if we just shift everything out and we have another pathway going this way, even though this is already up top. Because remember, this is all going to be gone, and power will be very easy to get across through here directly into the back of our 2-story food factories, which are also going to be on top of storage. Don't forget. I haven't forgotten. I'm just showing you. I think that might be our ticket. It'll be the easiest thing for us to do. So I know I said I'm not going to do all this stuff because we're trying to get everything else taken care of. But if I put in warehouse, this will be another warehouse here. And then warehouse, I can actually get things a little bit better set up. We're not going to need more than one layer of storage here. I don't think that's going to be an issue. So if I just go ahead, for lack of, you know, other stuff to do, place these here. So we remind ourselves of what we were actually accomplishing. We're in a very good spot. We can fill the rest of this in later. But man, this is going to be a lot better than I originally thought it was going to be, not going to lie. So what I'm going to do for the last little bit of this episode is I'm going to just set this here, time-lapse through a little bit of this, let them take care of as much building as I can reasonably get them to accomplish in the next little bit. and then we'll do our end of episode fun and get on out of here. But I do appreciate you guys genuinely taking care of so many different ideas and suggestions, letting me know when stuff is terrible, because, you know, we both know a lot of this hasn't been great, but we've done it together, and that's really important to me. Let's see what they got accomplished. Okay, so I think they've finished building everything I asked them to build, or at least everything that's immediately relevant. We do have algae that is being made. We do have mushrooms that are being made. We've had beavers at these rooftop terraces for quite some time. And we do have our first layer of row houses that aren't actually connected to anything just quite yet. I'm thinking we're in pretty good shape. There's still one more thing I want to address before we say goodbye for today. Let me just scroll back up here and see. Yeah, I did manage to do, or at least discuss, everything. So, someone said I should have some tubeways going around the upper level, and I think that is a fantastic idea. Easiest thing, I think, is going to be to just have a ring going around here, and then have some sort of other lines to connect stuff. But I'm not going to do that right now. I just want to let you guys know that that is something that we're going to be doing. Get everything hooked up a little bit more conveniently. And then right here, because we have these two hydroponic gardens that are elevated, and we have these rooftop terraces here. And if we're going to have tubeways and then power and everything go one side to the other, I'm thinking right about here in this corner would be a good place to put a wind tunnel. Obviously, I'm going to have some sort of other thing to support this. Would not be very hard, just have to put a couple of things here to get on either side of this. But I think that is going to be nice to have that one there. Maybe, since I think I said earlier, was about 3 of these required. Yeah, put one here, one here, one here, one here, once that gets all taken care of. Could be nice. And then inside of that, we could put the exercise plazas, because those don't have to be powered. They can just, you know, be there. And there's all sorts of other stuff we could do. We need to do additional storage for water as well. That won't be too hard. But yeah, this is where we just try to find a good vantage point. This is where we say goodbye for today, folks. Not in range of that sound, because I'll lose my mind. But yes, I really appreciate you watching this series, like I said previously. It's not possible to do this without the support of the Beard Boosters and those folks who have directly subsidized the channel, made it possible not to have sponsors for random products or services that you guys are probably already sick of hearing of. We can just have fun playing the game, and those people who do feel like, you know, throwing me something every now and again, keep the lights on, make it possible for me to dedicate a tremendous amount of time to playing with beavers on the internet, and fund some other fun stuff, both on and off platform for me and people I care about. And that means a whole lot to me, and I'm always going to be thankful, always going to recognize those folks. And even if you're not part of that, I'm still glad you're here. Just the fact that you chose to spend an hour of your time with me today means a whole lot, and I hope whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your time, you have a safe and a fun rest of your day, and I'll see you again soon. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.